The World Champs is right around the corner, kicking off on August 19th. And I don't know about you, but half the fun to me is trying to predict who's going to place top 3 in what event. So I've come up with a challenge, a friendly wager dare I say, between you and I, focusing on both the men's and women's 100, 200, 400 and short hurdles. I'm going to pick who I think will place top 3, and you do the same down in the comments. For correctly picking a top 3 finish, 1 point is awarded, while correctly guessing the place they finish in the top 3 is worth 3 points. And whoever has the most points by the end of the World Champs wins 10 whole New Zealand dollars straight out of the PayPal account of a broke university student. Also, if I see an edited little thingy next to your comment is voided, post a new one. Anyways, let's get into my picks. Starting with the big dogs, the men's 100 meter. I'm taking Hughes for gold, Curly for silver, and a surprise Lyles for bronze. Wild picks already coming out. Hughes in my eyes has become a mutant leading to the World Champs. It's like he wished for Lyles' top end speed paired with a pretty good start. British sprinters do have a thing for false starting in major finals, but 2 in a row, that would be ridiculous. As for Curly, he didn't look human starting this season. While he isn't undefeated anymore, the shit he pulled last year at Worlds with all the 9.7s, I believe he knows exactly what he's doing. And honestly, I would have had him at gold too if it wasn't for that torrential rain 10.03 by Hughes. And in terms of Lyles, he's a bit of a 100 meter wild card. I personally think his start will fall into place come the World Champs, just like with the 200 meter last year. Honestly, if his start hits at Worlds, he could win the 100, but that is a gamble I'm not willing to take. Some other names like Omanyala, Akeem Blake, Tobogo, I just don't believe in some of them at major comps. I think Coleman will be a good contender, but shit. The current sprint meta is having elite top end speed, and that just isn't Coleman. For the women's 100 meter, I'm picking Fraser Price for gold, Toulouse in silver, and Richardson for bronze. I don't really think I need to explain picking Shelly Ann. She's literally the LeBron James of the women's 100. Long consistent career, a top tier peak. She can run the rounds and smash out good times. Plus a season opener of 10.82 after some injury. She's in shape. She doesn't have competition fatigue. She's going to be fired up. When it comes to Toulouse, she always bangs at champs, at Diamond Leagues, and she also has championship pedigree with a World Championship silver in 2017. Yeah, she's up against some beasts for sure. But I got a feeling we've seen other competitors coming out too hot a bit too early. And Toulouse will always run a good time. As for Richardson in third, her US track and field champs was amazing. Do I think she can recreate that? To be honest, no. Do I think she'll implode like after the Olympic catastrophe? No. She'll be in form, she'll run well, but not as good as some of the crazy times she laid down earlier this year. As for some other hot contenders in Jackson and Alfred, they're hard to rule out, and I have a feeling Alfred could snipe a medal. Jackson's 100 meter is always a bit inconsistent even with the world lead this year, but to be honest, it's just a lot of gut feeling and I had to pick someone. Alright, the men's 200. For gold I got the big man himself, Arian Knighton, Lyles for silver, and Benerick for bronze. Basically the same sweep as last year. So, Knighton for gold, maybe a bit unexpected, but I have a feeling. I reckon Lyles might burn himself a bit trying to double at Worlds. It's tough to do, and athletes are human. They have to fatigue, probably. I'm a huge Lyles fan, so to say this hurts me more than you know. Also, after learning from last year, I think Knighton is doing it right this time. He's been heating up, and I think we're going to see a big time from him. As for Benerick for bronze, he's a killer at championships. He's calm, collected, and he isn't running the 100 like some other big contenders. So he's got his mental, talent, and he'll be fresh. Then there's the abundance of other fantastic contenders in the 200. Some newbies like Onwa Zarika and Jones. They've had long NCAA seasons. Hughes and Tobogo are also trying to double, and I personally don't think they're better athletes than Noah, and that's just kind of where I stand on them. For the women's 200, controversial, dare I say, Jackson for gold, Thomas for silver, Alfred for bronze. That rules out some big names here. An added prediction is Jackson breaking the 200 meter record. She's in the best form of her life, which honestly just questions why I didn't pick her for the 100. And that's because how good the form is of everyone else. As for Thomas, she recently ran a pretty awful race in Monaco, but you can't doubt her speed endurance come big races. And Alfred, she's a bit of a wild pick, but she's an NCAA workhorse. She's ran fantastic times in both the 1 and 2, and I've got a feeling she's going to pull through over Shelley and Richardson. That is a hard sentence to say confidently, but you can make fun of me later after I'm proven wrong. That Rio 400 meter world record left such an impression on me in 2016. I'm a Nijkerk stan. In saying that, Van Niekerk gold, Gardiner silver, and Norman in bronze. Okay, my belief, hopes and dreams is that Nijkerk, who has been lowering his times recently and has proven to be a monster at big races, is going to just waltz over everyone. Not really, but run a low 43. And then each year on after, we're going to see the version of Nijkerk where he never got hurt. Silver for Gardner because dude just came out and blasted a world lead of 43.74. His other times have been a bit iffy, but he's an experienced player and champion. And then the auto birth, yet someone not in the conversation, Michael Norman. His US track and field champs performance was shockingly bad, but I'm sure many of you have been in a similar spot before. Doing so embarrassingly bad, it just changes your mental instantly. It switches you into that underdog mode, and you get it done. He's got the potential, he's one of the fastest of all time. I got a feeling he's coming back into shape. Some contenders, but not my picks, are Samu Konga, who ran a 43 world lead this season. In his last race at Monaco, I think, he pulled up looking hurt, which is, awful signs. McDonald is all over the place, and Didman won the US champs, but his times are slower than Ryan Benjamin, and he's running the 400 meter hurdles. There's also Karani James, who I considered, but he hasn't been hot for a minute, and is getting up there in age. For the 400 women's, it's kinda cheese, but gold for McLaughlin, silver Paulino, and bronze for Wilson. Yeah, it's the three major favourites, and they're the three fastest in 2023, but I just couldn't see myself backing anyone else. McLaughlin is my personal huge favourite to win it. She's essentially an android. She chooses her event and becomes a world beater. I really got a feeling she'll be taking this world record, just not at this world champs. So yeah, McLaughlin and Paulino are in a class of their own for sure. And Wilson is honestly just my preference over the other athletes whose names I can't pronounce. Oh man, this one's going to be spicy. There are some really fun contenders in the men's 110 hurdles. But hear me out. Tinch for gold, Holloway for silver, and Izumiya for bronze. This one is probably my most out there picks. But man, Tinch has been crazy all year in the NCAA Div 2. At the US champs, he did both the long and the hurdles, 5th in the long, and then he ran the hurdles with the long jump fatigue, where he ran the fastest time overall, just not in the finals. He'll be focused on one event for the first time this year, and this is also his first year back since 2020. He's still getting newbie performance gains. More than just being my number one pick for Worlds, he is the next Grant Holloway, but an even better version. And then Holloway is Holloway. He doesn't have the best time this year, but this champs has been his focus since the beginning. And then my wildcard pick is Izumiya. I watched his 13.04 in Japan, his Diamond League win. Maybe Roberts or Broadbow would be better picks. Well, they would be. But it's a bit of a gut feeling, just a dark horse pick. And lastly, the 100 meter women's hurdles. It's probably the hardest to pick from. The times are tight, and I'm not a huge follower. Plus, I'm not even sure if Amusan is banned after dodging the tests. But just to make it more fun anyway, I'm removing her from my picks. But you can feel free to pick her. So I got Camacho Quinn in gold, Harrison for silver, and Nugent for bronze. I have a severe lack of reasoning for this one. If I'm honest, Camacho Quinn is my personal favourite, and Nugent ran some sick wind-dated times. That's really about it. I wouldn't be surprised if the final was a blanket finish between the top 5. It's a really even field. And that does make the entertainment factor very high. And that's it for my picks. Let me know yours down in the comments below, so we can all embarrass ourselves. Or even just tell me how dumb my picks are. See you in the next, when I go over the jumps and some other events. Bye.